Hey everybody, it's your girl EC. Welcome to my channel, Urban Awakenings. Today's video is signs that you are spiritually awakening. So stay tuned. Thank you for tuning in. Feel free to like, share, comment, subscribe to my channel by all means. A brief overview of myself. My name is EC. I am a spiritual counselor, also a spiritual entrepreneur. I have been on a journey of spiritual awakening here on YouTube since about 2008. So I have really old videos when I first started waking up to certain spiritual truths. And I have always been a person to share. So here we go. These are signs that you are spiritually awakening. They are not in any particular order. I just want to talk about what's going on, because sometimes when people go through things, they don't realize what's happening to them. They don't realize what's going on. And also, one thing about the spiritual journey, unless you have a solid tribe of people around you, unless you are one of the lucky ones, for the most part, I've seen individuals here and there, but we gravitate to each other and we connect, and then we trade stories, and then we realize that we have a whole lot of similarities. One of the very first signs and symptoms of spiritual awakening is rejecting conventional spiritual beliefs. Meaning, you grew up in a religion, and for whatever reason, you started seeing things that were wrong with it, or inconsistencies, or things that just didn't quite fit, things that could not be explained, and you started questioning those things. This happens to all of us. Lord Jesus, it happens to all of us. And some people have a smoother ride than others, but people really will start rejecting conventional beliefs, because there are certain phenomena that religion just cannot explain, number one. Number two, I truly believe that the souls that are coming onto this planet in this day and age are more spiritually advanced than the limitations that religion has put on spirituality and spiritual belief and relationships with a higher power. So you have people that will begin searching and seeking and looking towards other religions, looking towards, gravitating, doing research on the internet. When I first left a traditional religious background, I would say at this point it was 12 years that I have not, considered myself a Christian, even though Christianity is my foundation. I love Christianity, but I realized that I had evolved past it. One of the first things I did when I got on the internet, when I first got my very first computer, was I Googled New Testament contradictions, because I was like, I'm seeing certain contradictions that nobody can explain to me why they are. So things like that will start happening, just questioning, asking questions to people of authority within that religion. Well, how come? What I see quite often, people that have spiritual gifts, clairaudience, clairvoyant, but their religion does not explain this nor cover this, and really teaches them to fear these things. So they have to go through this journey of realizing that it's a gift to be explored, to be utilized, and to be appreciated. The second sign is cultivating your own personal power. The spiritual path is really about a personal connection with Source, from a one-on-one heart-centered chakra, a crown-centered chakra, a connection within our own selves, to even realizing that Source is within us. And a lot of us was traditionally taught to seek God outside, to look out there, to look up there, up where we point to heaven and say that's where God is. But part of being spiritually aware and waking up is realizing that it's actually in here. You know, when they say that we are the temple, it's because God dwells in this temple, in us. And coinciding right along with that is realizing that the inner journey is more important than the outer journey. This is another sign that you're spiritually waking up when you start getting interested in meditation, getting interested in what's going on the inside. People start doing shadow work. And what I mean by shadow work, just in case you don't know what that means, is really, when we experience traumas, the residue from that trauma gets stored in our subconsciousness, and it comes out as these autonomic isms that we are, or that we do, or these reactions. And most of the time it's unconscious. We don't even realize why we react the way that we do, or why we have that particular behavior pattern. When you start doing shadow work, what you're doing is you're looking on the inside. You're searching for all of the gunk and the dirt and the crap that is settled at the bottom of your spirit. And guess what? You're going in there and you're going in there and you're just stirring it up and making it all come to the surface so that you can process it, deal with it, and transmute it, eliminate it, heal it, get past it. You know something crazy though? Even when you go on an outer journey of discovery, now you're spiritual and you feel the need to read spiritual books and connect with spiritual people and watch spiritual videos like this one, you will realize after a while that all of that is just going to take you back inside of yourself. It's going to happen. Watch. This is a sign and symptom that I like. This is having a sense of oneness with everything around you. I'm going to tell you a little secret. The fact that I am here and you are there, and it looks like we're separated by time and space, that's really an illusion. And I'm going to tell you why. Because everything is consciousness. Everything is a manifestation of the consciousness of God. So, your body, my body, manifestations of the same thing. The stars, the moon, the camera, the lighting, manifestations of the same thing. It's all really the same thing. When you start having that realization of those synchronicities, and you start meeting those kindred spirits, and you start seeing those synchronicities of saying to yourself, I need to learn this, or I need to do this, and then it pops up. That is the universe showing you that everything is connected, so that you can experience that sense of oneness with everything else. Woo, child, this is one of my favorite ones too. Part of being on a spiritual journey, waking up spiritually, becoming enlightened, becoming aware, is rejecting the need to fit in. Now, this happens. This happens. And you know what's crazy? I see it happening to more and more people who have had a traditional sense of upbringing and a traditional sense of what they learned as far as a spiritual foundation. And then you find them gravitating towards crystals and meditation and tarot cards and things that are considered like, a little hokey, little woo-woo by society's standards. But one thing I am internally grateful for is being grounded in a sense of self. So no matter how crazy it looks to anybody else, I know that I follow my own path, and I know that I follow my own spiritual path, and I know that it unfolds in front of me. So it gives me a confidence that I don't feel the need to do what other people do or fit in with this crowd. And I will go one step further with you guys. if you are in a situation where you're having a spiritual journey, and you're really, you've done all the things that I mentioned beforehand, but then you're meeting these spiritual people and you see that all of them are wearing crystals, for example. They're wearing crystals, or they all have locks. I'm just using these as an example. Don't feel the need that that's what you have to do. Don't feel the need that just because that's their path or their journey, that that's your journey. We are all unique souls that are all connected through spirit, but we're having these individual soul journeys for the sake and the purpose of expansion and experience and lessons. So, you get in where you fit in, baby, is the moral of the story. Period. This is a good one, you guys. One sign of waking up spiritually, being spiritually awakened, is being more in tune with what's going on with you emotionally. Traditionally, we have been taught as a society to bury our emotions, to ignore our emotions, to pretend that what we're feeling isn't what we're feeling. And heaven forbid if you actually express what you're feeling. Heaven forbid you're going through something. No, you have to be strong. You have to ignore it. You have to pretend like everything is okay. And this is the crazy part. This is what causes the trauma in the first place, is trying to push it down and pretend like it doesn't happen and pretend like it never happened. So now you become more aware of your emotions. Maybe you're a highly sensitive person. Maybe you're highly empathetic. And now you're having an awareness of, this is how I process this thing. Let me tell you something. Let me give you a bit of advice, okay? Because I love y'all. If somebody asks you how you doing and you not fine, don't say fine. I don't care if they wanted to hear it. Don't say fine. Speak your truth. I'm having a shitty day. Thank you very much for asking. Or, I was really feeling down earlier, and then I started thinking about how many things that I was grateful for, and now my disposition is so much better. I'm doing great. Answer that question. We need to get into the habit of, when you ask somebody, how are you doing? Don't ask it as a formality because society says that's the polite thing to ask. If you don't want to know how that person really is doing, don't ask. Don't ask, because there's an authenticity there. Allow them the space to articulate to you how they're really doing. We have to become comfortable with the fact that humans are emotional beings. That is just what it is. That is what separates us a lot from the other species on this planet. We are emotional creatures. Another sign of being spiritually awakened is your intuition developing more and more. This is such a good side effect. Like, oh my God. Okay, story time. If you are a watcher of this channel, you know I do. I tell stories. So when I first started the spiritual path, one of the reasons why I first started was to explain the unexplainable. Like, what is deja vu? And, why do people get premonitions in their dreams? And why are some people, intuitive? Why can they see into the future? Or why can they connect with angels and all this other stuff? So fast forward 12 years later, in my spiritual growth and becoming a Reiki practitioner, it opened up my intuition to a point where I can clearly hear my spirit guides very audibly, very clearly, very in a clear tone voice, which is freaky. It's freaky. I never thought that would happen to me. But the more and more that I meditated, the more and more I started doing things, the more and more this intuition, this sixth sense, the third eye I was talking about in the chakra overview video, the more it started opening up. Another sign is conquering your fears, facing your fears and conquering your fears. Okay? So there are only two opposite emotions. The opposite of love is fear. I know a lot of people think it's hate, but it's not hate. you know, because a lot of times when we tend to hate something, it's because we fear it, because we don't understand it, because we don't agree with it. You know, we tend to hate it, but it's really out of fear. It's really out of fear of being uncomfortable, fear of the unknown. Humans, we are very fearful people. 95% of the decisions that we make are to avoid suffering or to relieve suffering or to deal with suffering. We do not like it, but that makes us very fearful in the choices that we make. A lot of people aren't living their life purpose out of fear, and it's causing them to suffer. So you started facing these fears. You start realizing, I'm not happy at this job. You know, this is crappy. I don't want to spend the rest of my life doing that. And when you're on that spiritual path, you start making decisions. You start searching your heart. What is it that you really want to do? What is it that brings you joy? What is it that makes your heart sing? And you start doing that. When before you were too scared to even consider it. It's like, yes, there is a sense of acceptance that wasn't there before. We fight so hard, like I said, to relieve suffering, that when things happen and we can't control those things, oh my God, we suffer so badly. We suffer so greatly because it's like, no, I don't want this. No, I don't want this. No, I don't want this. And this is the crazy part, you guys. Every time you say, no, I don't want this. No, I don't want this. The law of attraction is going to give you this, because that is what you're focusing on. That is what you're putting into your frequency. That is now the vibration that you're emitting. Even though you're literally saying, and you're clearly saying, I don't want this, the universe does not speak English. It speaks frequency. So you have to learn to accept. God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change. Because in that acceptance, you get an inner peace. You get you get a faith that it's going to be all right regardless. Because it usually is. I mean, even when it's not okay, it's okay. And what I mean by that is, okay, let's just say somebody's sick and they die, right? And it's not okay. You're not okay with the fact that they die. But they're not sick anymore. So it kind of is okay. See, you see the line? You see. The final sign of awakening the fuck up, okay? The final sign in this video is losing your fear of death. Once you start waking up to certain spiritual truths, you realize that death is not the end of your consciousness. It is not the physical death, death of this body, death of this flesh. These bodies were only designed to work for so long. And the inevitable truth is everybody is going to die. Everybody is going to become a memory. Everybody is going to become something that was once walking this earth and now it isn't anymore. And when you get into the spiritual journey and when you start cultivating that oneness with source and realizing that you are source, that's where you came from, and that's where you're going back to. Realizing with the development of your intuition that the spirit world is literally around you. You just can't see it. Realizing that the people that you lost are still there, are still watching over you, are still connected to you. Realizing that when you die, you're going to be reunited with your soul groups, with your families, with your angels. Oh my God, how could that be a bad thing? Now here's the thing. I know that it looks painful. And that's one of the reasons why people have such a fear of death, because it looks painful. I understand that. And the only comfort that I can offer at this time is people who have suffered near-death experiences and actually stopped breathing and left their bodies all report that they got to a point in their consciousness experience on the other side where they didn't feel pain anymore. That is the only thing that I can really bring forth that will help that situation, just in case you haven't gotten there yet. Okay, so this is the end of the video. I hope you have enjoyed it. I hope it has been entertaining, enlightening, thought-provoking. Don't forget to visit urbanawakenings.org. I am the sole proprietor of Urban Awakenings. My name is EC. I have books that have been written on these subjects, blogs, spiritual items, and spiritual services. You guys take care of yourself. Love you. Peace.